to be our light. So I thought I'd tell you a story about a light that was coming from a blacksmith's forge. And he decided to take on a young apprentice. The young fellow came to the blacksmith shop, and the blacksmith said to him, now listen, you have to be careful here because things are very dangerous. The fire is hot, it's very bright, there's heavy metal tools here, you know, hammers and all kinds of things, so you gotta be careful. So the kid said, okay. He said, now listen carefully, we're gonna do one simple thing. I'm going to take this tool, I'm going to pick out a horseshoe from the hot fire. I'm going to put it on that big anvil there. You're going to pick up the gigantic hammer. Okay? I'm going to nod my head. You hit it as hard as you can with that hammer. So kids, so let me get this straight. So you're going to put the tool in the fire, take out the horseshoe, lay it on the anvil. Yes. And with that, you nod your head, and I hit it as hard as I can with the hammer. He said, right. Well, the boy did exactly as he was instructed, and that night, he became the blacksmith. So for those of you who missed it, he was supposed to hit the horseshoe with the hammer, not the head of the blacksmith, okay? So that's what happened. Now, and for the rest of you, I'll explain it again after, okay? So, I told this yesterday at the Antioch retreat for our 10th graders who were receiving confirmation in a few months, and there was dead silence. I mean, they just were staring at me. And I said, what happened? One girl said, it's too dark. Too dark? Okay. So I said that, and this other one raises her hand. Oh, I said, uh-oh, I have to give it 4 masses tomorrow. Now you're making me not have confidence in my story. And this other one said, you're talking to adults? I said, yeah, she goes, it's okay, they're jaded. So, now I have to say, I did get a laugh from all the adults, so I don't know what she's saying. Anyway, but there is the point of the story, and it's this. Obviously, the apprentice was a victim of what we call black and white thinking. He was taking things absolutely literally. He wasn't looking for nuance or saying perhaps he didn't mean exactly what he said, okay? In fact, even the girl in the confirmation retreat had black and white thinking. We're horrified by your story, but adults will like it because they're all jaded. So black and white thinking has been demonstrated twice now to you, right? It's when we think either or, light or darkness. You're wrong, I'm right, okay? And all this kind of thinking, when we're black and white, when there's only extremes, it's not helpful for our relationships or our spiritual life. Because the truth is that there's shades all the time. Now, that's how God made the universe, right? We have light in space, but we also, recently, they discovered well, we knew it was dark, but there's actually dark matter that helps balance things out in space. So God created light and darkness. You need both. And the only way we can see is with a little of both. So the heavens are made with light and darkness and all things in between. So are our own eyes as God created us. Because if it's complete darkness, we can't see anything. And if it's complete light, like snow blindness, we can't see anything either. So we always need the shades of gray, the light and the dark coexisting. This is true in our relationships with ourselves, with other people, and God. It's never black and white. There's always shades in the middle, and that frustrates us. We would like it to be clear, everything to be obvious, and it's not. That's an invitation for us spiritually to invite God into all the grayness of life, all the shades and colors. We invite Christ as our light to say, illuminate this situation because I'm confused. I don't know what I'm thinking, I'm not sure what I'm feeling, I don't know what to choose, what to do, what not to do, what to say, what not to do, what to do about this person or the other one. We're always sorting, sifting, we call it discerning in church language. It means we invite God into a situation and say, hey, here's all of this. Now help me make the most loving and the best choice for myself and for other people, and as you wish as well. We invite God in. So our Lenten journey, this Christ be our light, in these next weeks we'll be learning how to invite God into situations in our life, into ourselves, to help us to use Christ as Christ wishes us to be our light, to be our guide, to help us to see more clearly. That's to use prayer as the key to open the door of our hearts to Christ's life, to illuminate. Now, there'll always be shades and gray, and we'll never be sure, but when we invite God, there's a guarantee of greater clarity, because we're not doing black and white thinking. We're open to the possibilities that God continues to reveal. In situations where we get stuck in black and white, either or, right and wrong, up and down, in and out, when we're so definite, we're always setting ourselves up for trouble in our relationship with ourselves, with other people, and also with God. Okay? So when we're living with discernment, when we're inviting God in, it helps to balance things, to bring a richness. Now, our banner here shows different shapes and sizes and different degrees of light and darkness, and we can see just the glimpse coming from behind the cross of Christ's light in our lives. We're going to be looking at that more in the future, but it does kind of speak about what I'm saying, that there's situations, relationships, thoughts, feelings, and actions that all need that light of Christ to permeate, to come in. Why the light of Christ? Well, Christ is the perfect example of the one who did this the best. Jesus was certainly fully divine, but in his humanity, he needed to do the same sifting and sorting, the same discerning that we're doing. Today's gospel in the desert. That's a story of Jesus, light, dark, and all the things in between. He goes there to discern, what is my Father asking of me? What is my mission? What should I be doing? How am I going to live out these gifts and talents that I have? Does it sound familiar? God, you gave me this day. What do you want from me? He talks to his Father. And 40 days and 40 nights is a way of the Bible saying a long time. And in it, we see him wrestling, right? The voice of the devil. Hey, take over everything. Be the first. Be the best, right? Go for power. Go for pleasure. It's a story that speaks about what we wrestle with every day. All the issues, all the things that we struggle with. And Jesus is struggling there. Now we read it that he says, man does not live by bread alone. But in the story, there's the temptation, the struggle. He eventually makes a good choice. Why? Yes, because he was Jesus. But he was Jesus who turned to his Father in prayer for help. It's right there. So if Jesus, being human and divine, needed to turn to his Father in prayer to get help with making decisions, I don't think we have much of a choice, do you, if we want to do it in the lightest way. So when we pray to Christ as our light, we're not talking to someone who doesn't understand. Jesus wrestled with this, and especially, which I never heard until this weekend, but I was looking at the reading, well, during the week. It says at the end, and after this, the devil left him to come back another time. I always assumed he had the temptations, he took off, he did his ministry, boom, boom, boom. It says he came back another time, which means that Jesus continued to have to wrestle and pray and discern, because he knew that life was not black and white, that there was a lot that needed to be sorted in the midst of it. And we even see it later in Gethsemane, where he says, I know my death is coming, Father. I accept this. But if you have a better idea, I'm open to it. Okay? So, again, even there in the last moments, he's struggling. He's discerning. He's praying. That's the point. He's praying. He's inviting his Father into the situation. When we have black and white thinking, it's a way of saying there's no middle. And God is in the middle. We invite God to be in the middle. So, take a bulletin. There's reflection questions to see what's darkness and light in your life. What do you need to sift and sort? How can you invite God into your situations, your everyday life, which God is intimately interested in? How can Christ be your light? There's little guides there. And then as the weeks unfold, we'll look at different ways to do that, to invite God into situations. So now I'm going to tell you a little light and darkness story that happened Wednesday. I shared with my gentleman that I live with in the rectory. Father Kevin wasn't there, so he's innocent in this tale of woe. I told him the story of the blacksmith, right? And And Father Joseph says, you know, what would be a good thing to do? And I said, what? He said, we should enact it right now, and you can be the blacksmith. So I took it that he was kidding, but I hit the hammer, okay? So it was a dark moment in our relationship, but it's a light one now because you got to laugh.